Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
It was May 22, 2025. Some very important and surprising news arrived at Harvard University. This news was a big shock to everyone on campus. The news came from the U.S. government. The government announced a new rule about students who come from other countries to study in America. These are called international students. The government said that Harvard could no longer accept any new international students starting from the next school year. This meant that people living outside the U.S. who planned to come to Harvard could not. But the rule also affected students who were already studying at Harvard. There were about 6,800 international students already enrolled at the university. These students were from many different nations around the world. The government told these students that they must leave the United States or find another university in the U.S. very quickly. They could not continue their studies at Harvard. This news caused a lot of fear, stress, and confusion for thousands of students. Their plans for school, their jobs, and their lives in America suddenly became very uncertain. They felt worried and unsure about their future. Harvard University reacted right away. The leaders at the university strongly disagreed with the government's new rule. They said it was wrong, unfair, and not legal. They said it would cause a lot of harm. Harvard said that international students are a very important part of the university community. They bring different ideas, skills, and knowledge to classes and research. Losing such a large number of students, about 1/4 of all students at Harvard, would hurt the university greatly. Teaching and research would suffer. The university stated that the government's action was harmful and did not have a good reason. They called it an unfair attack on Harvard and its students. They emphasized that the ban affected thousands of innocent people who had done nothing wrong. Harvard leaders made it clear that the university would not be the same without its students from different countries. They believed the ban was a big mistake for higher education in America and for the country's place in the world. This sudden announcement on May 22, 2025, created a big problem. It started a major disagreement and a legal case between Harvard University and the U.S. government. This event put many international students in a very difficult situation and made the future uncertain for them and for the entire university community. People around the world watched closely to see what would happen next in this important case. 2. Harvard fights back. Harvard did not wait. The very next day, on May 23, the famous university took action. They went quickly to a special court in Boston. Harvard asked the court to stop the government's order right away. They told the judge that the government's ban was wrong and against the law. Harvard's lawyers presented their reasons in official court papers. They explained that the power the government used for this ban is usually meant for universities with certain problems, like not having enough classrooms or not following certain rules. But Harvard argued this ban was different. They felt it was used as a punishment because of disagreements about ideas or ways of thinking on campus, not for those reasons. Harvard's lawyers presented their reasons in official court papers. They explained that the power the government used for this ban is usually meant for universities with certain problems, like not having enough classrooms or not following certain rules. But Harvard argued this ban was different. They felt it was used as a punishment because of disagreements about ideas or ways of thinking on campus, not for those reasons. Harvard believed this was unfair and went against the rules. The university stressed how much terrible damage this ban would cause. It would be very bad and happen very quickly. Harvard said that forcing thousands of international students to leave would hurt the school's teaching and research. Many students from other countries are studying hard in science, medicine, and other fields. Forcing them to stop their studies and leave the country would cause serious problems for their degrees and future jobs. And it would hurt the university's important work and discoveries. Harvard also said the ban would deeply change the school's spirit and learning environment. Students from different countries, new views, cultures, and languages. They help make Harvard a global place where people learn from each other. Taking them away would make the university smaller and less rich in ideas. Harvard's message to the court was clear and strong. They stated, without its international students, Harvard is not Harvard. This powerful sentence showed how much the university values these students and sees them as a core part of the community. The university felt the ban was attacking the very idea of what Harvard is meant to be, a place that welcomes talent from around the world to learn and grow together. Going to court so fast showed how serious the situation was for Harvard. They felt this was the only way to protect their students and fight against an order they believed was unfair and harmful. They wanted the judge to see the great problems the ban would create for students and the school and stop it from happening immediately.
This legal challenge was the start of a very important fight for Harvard and for many thousands of students. 3. A judge helps Harvard. Later on that same day, May 23, something important happened. A judge in a United States court helped Harvard. Her name is Judge Allison Burroughs. She listened carefully to what Harvard said. Harvard explained the big problems the ban would cause. The university told the judge how losing many students quickly would hurt everything. Judge Burroughs agreed with Harvard. She saw that the university would suffer greatly. The damage would be immediate and serious. She understood that waiting for a long court case was not possible because the harm would happen too fast. Because of this, Judge Burroughs made a decision. She issued an order. This order told the government to stop the ban. But it was a temporary order. This means it only stops the ban for a short time. The judge's order was very important for the students and for Harvard. It meant that the ban could not start right away. The thousands of international students did not have to leave their studies or the country. They could stay at Harvard for now. The university could also keep its students and continue its work. The sudden problem was paused. This order is not the end of the story. It just stopped the ban temporarily. It gives time for both sides, Harvard and the government, to get ready. They will prepare their reasons and evidence for a bigger court case. In that case, the judge will listen again, perhaps for a longer time, and then make a final decision about the ban. Will the ban be allowed to happen, or will it be stopped for good? But for this moment, on May 23, Judge Allison Burroughs gave Harvard and its international students hope. Her temporary order helped keep things as they were before the ban was announced. Students felt safer, even though they knew the fight was not over. The judge's action was a big step in the legal battle that had just begun. 4. Why the ban happened. The United States government had to explain why it suddenly told Harvard University it could not enroll new students from other countries. The person who gave the main explanation was the head of Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi Noem. She spoke about the reasons for this serious government action. Secretary Noem said the government made this decision because of several problems they saw at Harvard. She stated publicly that Harvard had created an unsafe environment on its campus. The government claimed that Harvard allowed people who were against America or supported terrorist ideas. They specifically mentioned that these individuals caused harm to students who were Jewish. The government saw this as a major issue of campus safety. There was another very serious reason given by the government. They accused Harvard of working together with a group from China. The government called this a Chinese paramilitary group and claimed Harvard was coordinating with them on campus. This was seen as a national security concern by the government. Furthermore, the government stated that Harvard did not fully cooperate with their requests for information. Before they made the ban, the government had asked Harvard to provide many records about its foreign students. They wanted specific details about student activities on campus, including information about protests or any actions the government considered illegal or violent. Secretary Noem said that Harvard did not give all the information the government needed or did not provide it fast enough. She described the ban as something that happened partly because Harvard failed to meet what the government called simple reporting requirements. The government also explained their general view about having foreign students at universities. They said clearly that enrolling students from other countries is not a basic right for a university. Instead, they see it as a privilege that the government allows under specific rules. Secretary Noem also made it clear that the ban on Harvard was meant to send a strong message to other universities across the United States. She called it a direct warning to every other school. She wanted them to get your act together and make sure their campuses followed rules and were safe according to the government's standards and demands for information. In summary, the government's reasons for the ban on Harvard included accusations of an unsafe campus environment with anti-American activities, alleged work with a Chinese group seen as a security risk, and failing to provide necessary student records.
They framed the ban as an important step for national security and making universities accountable, emphasizing that having foreign students is a privilege, not a right. 5. Students feel scared. The news about the government's ban on Harvard made students feel very scared. Thousands of international students felt great fear and confusion. These students came to Harvard from many different countries around the world. Now they had a big worry about their future studies. They also worried about their student visas. Could they still study at Harvard? Could they stay in the United States? The thought of leaving felt very sudden and scary for them. Many students talked about how they felt. They talked about high stress. Some said they felt unwelcome in the country where they were studying. Their plans for finishing their degrees and their future lives were suddenly at risk. Students studying for advanced degrees like masters or PhDs and researchers felt this worry strongly. They worried about their research projects and their work in labs. One student from Australia said the situation was just stressful. It felt like being told to transfer schools or leave the country fast. A researcher from India felt shocked and sad. She said she and others were trying hard to figure out what they must do next. A student from Canada said that international students bring different ideas. They help everyone understand the world better. Another student from Sweden said it felt like they were being used like pieces in a political game. He said his dreams about studying were broken. A student from Pakistan said he and many others did not feel welcome in the U.S. anymore. He was the first person in his family to study abroad. He called the situation unfair and difficult for students. A student from South Korea was now afraid to travel home for the summer break. She worried she might not be allowed to come back to the U.S. to finish her program. An Indian student said her group of friends at Harvard, who are from many countries, felt like their plans were ruined. For many people from India, studying at Harvard is a very big goal. Their lives changed very fast. Where they lived, their schoolwork, and plans for graduation were not certain anymore. They came to Harvard because it was a place for people from all over the world to study together. Now this was in danger. Other universities in the U.S. also watched with worry. Many foreign students at other schools called their universities because they were scared. Leaders at these schools said that what happened at Harvard could happen to them too. Governments from many countries started to say they were worried. Countries like Belgium, China, India, and Canada asked the U.S. government to help protect the students. They said using education in this way was bad for America's name in the world. The government of China said this action hurt how the U.S. looks to other countries. Experts share ideas. Different experts from many fields shared their ideas about the ban. They had different points of view on the government's action. Many experts who understand law said the government's ban was not strong in court. They believed it was not legal according to U.S. rules. These experts explained that a university usually loses the right to enroll foreign students for clear administrative problems, like losing its official recognition or not having proper classrooms. But the reason given for the Harvard ban seemed different. These law experts thought the government was trying to punish Harvard for its ideas or political activities on campus, not for basic rule breaking. Using the student visa program in this way was very unusual, they said, which made the ban legally weak. However, some other experts who study government rules and national security felt the government had important reasons for its action. They said the U.S. government has a right to be careful about security concerns on university campuses. For these experts, looking closely at foreign students and their activities was part of keeping the country safe. They believed the government had a right to worry about certain things happening at universities. Leaders from universities and education groups also spoke strongly. They said international students are extremely important for the United States. These students do not just study. They work in labs, help with teaching, and add many new ideas to discussions. They are especially important in fields like science and technology. Education leaders also stressed that students from other countries help the U.S. economy a lot. One report showed that students from other countries brought almost $44 billion to the U.S. economy in just 1 year. These leaders felt the ban would damage U.S. universities and make the country less competitive in the world. Politicians in the U.S. had very different opinions about the ban. Some politicians agreed with the government's decision. They supported the ban and said it was necessary for the country's safety and to ensure universities followed rules. Secretary Kristi Noem from the government said the ban was also a message to other universities. At this time, President Donald Trump was the President of the United States, and he made comments supporting strong immigration controls and the need for security. But many other politicians were strongly against the ban. They said it was a bad use of government power and hurt important freedoms. They called it an attack on Harvard's ability to teach and research independently. They felt it was unfair to the students and the university. One politician called it authoritarianism. So experts from law, policy, and education, along with politicians on different sides, shared many ideas about the ban. Their discussions showed the complex legal, security, economic, and freedom issues involved in the government's action against Harvard. 7. Past problems, big stakes. This is not the first time there was a problem about rules for foreign students in the United States. Something like this happened before. In the year 2020, the government made a rule during a time of sickness. The rule said if a foreign student's school was only online, they could not stay in the U.S. Universities and students did not like this rule. They went to court. After a short time, the government stopped the rule. That event showed that problems with rules for foreign students can happen. It also showed that universities will fight rules they think are not fair. But this new ban on Harvard is different. It is a much bigger problem. In the past, the government put pressure on universities. They asked for information sometimes, but they never said a famous school like Harvard could not have any new foreign students. This ban tries to stop students from one big university. People say this is a new, strong action by the government. It is different from things before. This ban could cost the United States a lot of money. Foreign students pay for school, for places to live, and other things. People who study this say foreign students bring billions of dollars to the U.S. economy every year. If schools cannot have these students, they lose that money. The U.S. economy loses money too. Also, many foreign students are very smart. They work hard in science and other areas. They do important studies. If these talented students cannot come to the U.S., they will go to other countries. This means America could lose many smart scientists and researchers. This could make it harder for America to find new things. The ban also changes how people in other countries see the United States. For many years, America was a very good place to study. Students from around the world wanted to come to U.S. universities. They thought it was a place where they could learn a lot and have a good future. But now, this ban might make people think differently. They might see America as a place where rules for students can change fast. They might think America does not want students from other countries. This can hurt America's image in the world. It can make it harder for U.S. schools to get the best students from other countries in the future. Students might choose to study in Canada, Europe, or Australia. 8. What will be next? The legal fight for Harvard University is not finished. A big court hearing is coming soon. In this hearing, a judge will listen to both sides. The government wants the ban on foreign students to stay. They plan to continue fighting for it in court. The government believes it has the power to make this rule. They say it is about safety and following rules. Harvard will also continue fighting strongly. The university wants to protect its students from having to leave. It also wants to protect its freedom to make its own choices about students and campus life. Harvard says the government's ban is unfair and against the law. They argue that losing so many students would hurt the school very much. This case is very important, not just for Harvard. It will affect many other universities in the United States. These schools also have thousands of international students. They are watching this case closely because a similar ban could happen to them. The decision here could change rules for universities across the country. The decision in this court case will change things for many people. It will show what the government can do to universities regarding foreign students. It will also show how safe and welcome international students are in the U.S. The future for many students remains uncertain. They came to the U.S. to study and follow their dreams. But now their plans depend on what the judge decides. Many students still feel worried and confused. They do not know what will happen next. Will they be able to stay at Harvard and finish their education? Or will they have to leave the country because of the ban? Their lives and studies are waiting for the court's answer. This case affects their education, their visas, and their future careers. What will the big court decision mean for students like them and for universities everywhere?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.